5, 4, 3. Hi, everybody. DUGROZ here with DUGROZ Reports. Welcome to my Saturday morning live stream, one and all. Today is Saturday, August the 3rd, 2024, and I am reporting live from my house. Looks like my webcam is a little wonky. See if I can get that straightened out somewhat. That didn't quite do the trick, so let's try a little put a rubber band under one side trick here. Don't look at the ceiling, though. Oh, boy. I'm sorry, folks. Producer, why are you messing up? All right, here we are. Okay. Good morning, everyone. John R., Xavier, and Tom Graber, all three DUGROZ Diehards. They joined as a member for only $3 a month. They're getting excellent members-only content, like my members-only philosophy videos. There's about 30 of them. If you want to join them, it's only $3 a month. You can cancel anytime. They'll tell you it's well worthwhile. And then Frugal Dad Finance is on board. Jacob's Points and Profits said he had a crazy night not partying, and we'll have to catch the replay. Thank you, everyone. All right. I am going to dive right into some DUGROZ data points here. I've got a moderately decent-sized handful I'd like to go ahead and jump in on. Going to share my screen here. Should only take a moment or two. And there we go. Okay, you'll see on the screen here it says Lifestyle Collection. So this is just some interesting news here. By the way, if you can hear me loud and clear, please let me know. This past week, I got an email from Capital One saying, we now offer vacation rentals. So basically, this would be like an Airbnb, VRBO, Vacasa type competition, though it is rather limited. So just for the sake of poking around and making sure everything checks out, just seeing what it's all about, I went ahead and looked, and I sorted by vacation rentals, and there's only certain areas that have them. You can see this drop down list right here. We got Berkshire's, Big Bear, California, got Big Island, Hawaii, Charleston, South Carolina, Corpus Christi, Asheville, North Carolina, Atlanta, Banner Elk, North Carolina, Bend, Oregon. This is just a sampling. Nashville, Tennessee, got more of California, more of Hawaii, etc., etc. So got some different options. They're not everywhere. They don't have Des Moines, Iowa for some reason. So I'm assuming there's some sort of backdoor deal they've entered into. I don't know if this is the right thing or not. Yeah, it is. Okay, so on this screen, you should see, I stopped sharing by accident. There we go. Okay, so these are a couple I just pulled up, and I think it was Palm Springs, California. So Stan, if you're watching, you can go take advantage of these. The Electric Lady by Boutique. Well, that sounds fun. And you'll see down here in small print, $553 per night. And I want to contrast that with the Pond Estate by Avant Stay, $4,922 per night. So we have some variance in prices. And if you look in like the really small print here, you'll see it says for 11 nights, it would be $5,863 or 586,000 miles. So this is just basically a penny per point. So I was hoping there would be some way to hack this, but it appears that it's not really hackable as far as I can tell. But if any of you pick up any information, let me know. It is part of the vacation rentals is like a subcategory under their premier collection. So the premium benefits like early check-in and late checkout, when available, does apply. Air conditioning. Well, for $563 a night or $553, you better have air conditioning. But basically what I figured out is they'll let you pay with points on the portal. There's really no reason why you would want to do that, because you could just pay with your Venture X card, get 10x points per dollar, and then later go in and do the travel eraser for 1 penny per point. So if it's only a penny per point, you might as well use the travel eraser, so you're double dipping at least a little. That effectively makes it kind of like a 1.1 cent per point redemption. So again, I haven't figured out a way to really make this hackable or exciting. If you don't have a way to cash out your points at least 1.1 and you really want one of these specific properties, go for it. But it's not, at this moment, it's not that high on my radar. Maybe if I was looking for a way to use that $300 Venture X credit once a year. That's about all I can think of. Any of you think of any hackabilities of these? Let's see. Ian Mascal is here. Good to see you, Ian. Says, morning, sir. Sounds good. Glad to hear it. Thank you. We got 26 people on board. Only 7 thumbs up. So if you haven't yet, please click the thumbs up button. That drives people over here. Oh, and I am a forgetful dude sometimes. I always post a link in the announcement section on the Anthony Venture Discord, and I haven't done that yet. So I know some of you are part of that Discord. If any of you would just share a link over there, I would really appreciate that. Let me know if you've done that. All right. So, there was one more screen here on that Capital One topic, just showing that they do have quite a few properties, but for some reason, it's only in these specific areas. This is Southern California, kind of the western edge, the eastern edge of the metro. Here's San Bernardino down here, kind of, up in the San Bernardino mountains and whatnot. Maybe you can go find the bridge to nowhere while you're there. All right. Next, DUGROZ data point. This is a bank account bonus that I am in the process of taking advantage of. Probably not one that a lot of you can do because it is specific only to residents of the state of Iowa. There might be a few counties that lap into Wisconsin and Illinois, but that'd be about it. Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust is offering a max checking account with a $333 checking account bonus. You just have to sign up by August 31st. Use this code. And what do you have to do to get that sign up bonus? Well, it says right on here. Oops, I zoomed in too much. It will be paid when the following occurs. You have to have your account open a minimum of 30 days. You have to have a recurring ACH transaction. Now, it doesn't say what recurring is, so I would think if you're being hyper literal, that would be twice ever. So if I have one in August and one in September, I've met the goal. You have to have the debit card has been used and the account has a positive balance. Again, has been used seems kind of vague. I would say I'll do it once a month just to be on the safe side, and requirements must have been met in the first 6 months. You have to be a new customer. So pretty easy. Sign-up bonus if you're a resident of Iowa, certain counties in Wisconsin and Illinois. Look into the max checking account by Cedar Rapids Bank and Trust. Sean D is here and says, top of the morning, DUGROZ. Thank you. Appreciate that. Next little piece of news, or DUGROZ diehard. Can't talk this morning. I just clicked a button. Everything went blank. Hopefully you didn't lose me. I think we're okay. Let me know if you can still hear me. Next, DUGROZ data point. Here's a letter written to me personally by the CEO of Southwest Airlines, and it says, we've embarked on a big transition, blah, blah, blah. We have also conducted extensive market research on our open seating model. It showed a large majority of our customers prefer assigned seats and premium extra legroom seating options. As a result, flights with assigned seating and extra legroom will go on sale sometime in 2025. Boilerplate language about good customer service. So there have been rumors out there about Southwest actually having assigned seating in the near future. And I more than rumors, it's been on Doctor of Credit and Points Guy and Frequent Miler. And basically it's pretty well confirmed, but I guess it's official now that an email has been sent out to all the customers. So I don't know how this will affect things. I don't really know what the ramifications are, but sometime in the year 2025, you're going to be able to pick your seat on Southwest Airlines. not like pick your seat, but choose your seat on Southwest Airlines. Don't know how much extra it's going to be. Time will tell. I do think this has the potential to be a really big deal and an awesome thing. Cough coming on. Probably should get a lozenge. In the points and miles community, because Southwest transfers from Chase 1-to-1, and I know Southwest isn't always the most exciting transfer partner, you're basically getting a fixed value of somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.3 to 1.5 cents per point, but Southwest has a few things going for it. One, it's really easy to use. So transferring the points, using your points is like rookie proof. It's along the same lines as like Hyatt. It's a easy, like once you've graduated beyond Travel Portal, it's your first kind of mid-level transfer partner redemption. And then secondly, since it is a fixed value, you're never going to screw up so badly you don't get very many points, or you're not going to get less than 1 cent per point. So it's screw up proof. And maybe thirdly is Southwest flies a lot of places. I mean, they fly from Des Moines, Iowa to St. Louis, Missouri. And as far as I know, it's the only direct flight from Des Moines to St. Louis. And that's one of their hubs then they're in St. Louis. So meet me in St. Louis and you've got a lot of options to go places. They have an early morning flight at like 7 a.m. So you can basically get from Des Moines to anywhere by about 1 o'clock in the afternoon via St. Louis with Southwest. Filmo says, I'm ready for the Southwest cattle call seating to be over. And good morning, everyone. I wonder, are they going to get rid of cattle call seating entirely, or is it just the option? I mean, I could see like, they do either a business class or like a premium economy type thing. First few rows, like let's just make something up. Say the first 3 rows, since they always fly 737s, the first 3 rows are business and they have, the larger seats, just 2 across, no middle seat. A 2x2 configuration. Then they have like the Delta's equivalent Comfort Plus for the next 4 rows. And then the back half of the plane is the everybody else. Get back there, you plebeians seating. And if you're in the plebeian seating, you still have to do cattle call boarding. Thomas Hopuk says, how do you travel as a group without assigned seating? Exactly. So if I had young children or a special needs family member or an elderly family member, I'm not going to want to, I'm not going to want to risk sitting separately. Hey, folks, I'm going to grab a cough drop real quick. This isn't the official biology break. This will only take like 20 seconds. Just hang in there. I'm still here. I promise. Don't leave. Don't leave me, people. Of course, the moment you need it, finding a cough drop is like the hardest thing in the world. Our bin of medication is literally right here. Sorry, it's taking longer than I thought. We're live, real and in person here. Aha. 5th or 6th try is the charm. Yeah, there was some good quality live audio. John R. says, I'm still a Delta guy. I don't care what Southwest does. PTSD from them and American. Oh, okay. Well, sorry, John. Filmo being welcomed by John in Shirt Jeopardy music. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. All right, moving on. Do you like frivolity? The next thing I'm going to share is 100% frivolous. There is no points and miles connection whatsoever. You ever heard of Simon and Garfunkel? So I was listening to some music on YouTube last night. If you just kind of let it go, it just picks songs that you think you'll probably like. And Bridge Over Troubled Water came on. Like a bridge over troubled water. Sorry, I won't keep going. I've always noticed this. Somebody pointed out like 10 years ago. If you crop the picture so that you can't see Simon, you cut it off just above his eyebrows, you get this. It looks like Garfunkel has a big puffy mustache. And I've always thought that was interesting. All right, so there's your totally random, unrelated comment of the day. Filmo says Southwest is the healing airline. 12 wheelchairs at boarding, 0 at exit. That's funny. John R. says, just kidding, DUGROZ. I know you like to kid around. That's no problem. And Juan Garcia's here, also a DUGROZ diehard. I am an AA guy being based out of Miami, but Delta definitely is the better airline product. Yep. So Des Moines flies to Miami 1 day a week directly. I think it's on Saturdays. I wish there were more options, but I'm kind of an American guy by default. I don't have a lot of choice, although I'm really a free agent. I just go wherever I need to go. That's what happens when you live in a small market airport. All right, next. Just kind of a follow-up on the Chase Aeroplan. So you know how much I love using my Aeroplan points, pay yourself back. And hopefully by now I've drilled it all into you that the transfer bonus of 20%, the automatic card bonus of 10%, if you transfer at least $50,000, and the usage of pay yourself back at 1.25% gives us 1.3 plus 1.25. And class, that comes to 1.625 cents per point. That comes to 1.625 cents per point. Man, my talking is atrocious. So I transferred like 80,000 points to help pay for my family vacation. This transfer bonus ended on the last day of July, so it's too late now. But on July 30th, I did one more transfer. I transferred 60,000 ultimate rewards from my Sapphire Reserve over to Aeroplan. The automatic 20% or the current Chase transfer bonus of 20% kicked in, got me an extra 12K. The baked in 10% Aeroplan card bonus of 6K kicked in. So I transferred 60,000 and walked away with 78,000. If my math is correct, and I'm pretty sure that it is. All right. What is next? I don't even know. Let's put it on the screen and see what happens. Oh, this is my Chase Sapphire Reserve. So this is just a note. The balance is exactly $550. So does anyone have an educated guess as to what happened on my Sapphire Reserve card in the last 7 or so business days? Do 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 bong bong. John wins. The annual fee hit. So that's not unexpected, but you might remember when I went to West Virginia and Charlottesville, Virginia for my April RIP trip back in April. About 5 to 10 days before that trip, I upgraded from my Sapphire Preferred to my Sapphire Reserve. I didn't have enough points on my Altitude Reserve to cover my rental car at that time because I used it to go watch the solar eclipse in Ziegler, Illinois in early April. So my thought is I'm going to put my rental car on the Sapphire Reserve. I'm going to knock out the annual credit on that of $250 right away. Is it $250 or $300? I'm having a brain fart. Whatever the annual travel credit is in the Sapphire Reserve, I'm going to knock most of it out right away. And I got all but like the last $30 or so. And I get travel insurance, which will take me through the rest of this year. At the end of my anniversary year, maybe I'll downgrade back to Sapphire Preferred. Maybe I'll keep it. I haven't decided yet. Traveled thus far this year without any incidents. But I really do like the travel protections on the Sapphire Preferred, Reserve, which have just gotten better. Maybe I should mention that. What's unfortunate is I was thinking like, okay, my annual fee on my Sapphire Preferred hit. I'm going to do this upgrade from the CSP to the CSR in like April 10th, 15th, something like that. They'll credit back the $95 annual fee on the Preferred, which they did. And then a month later, when that statement closes, they'll charge the annual fee on my Sapphire Reserve. which will be good timing because that'll put my card anniversary in like May, which is a good split because it's after my spring rip trips. It's before any summer travel. So it's kind of a nice stopping point. Well, I don't know why, but for whatever reason, they held off on charging me the annual fee until just now. My statement closed on like July 27th or 28th, which is perfect for me. I like to have it close around that time of year. I try to pay all my bills by like the 24th of every month. So that's a good statement close date. I'm not sure why they waited through April, May, June, and all of July, 4 months later to finally post my annual fee. It probably has something to do with like the Card Act and upgrading, and they have to give you 45 days to make sure you want to bail out, and it just happened to hit wrong on my statement cycle or something. But man, that kind of stinks. That falls terribly, falls right in the middle of summer. So like if I'm on vacation on July 27th next year, it's like I may have used some of my credits, but not all. And now it's like, well, what if I don't have any uses for it and I do want to keep it all the way around till next year? So do any of you know how you can kind of can you just ask to have your anniversary date changed? If I just called them and said, can you make my anniversary date the close of my May statement? Will they? I bet they won't because it would screw everything up with billing. But if you have any suggestions or input on that, by all means, please let me know. It's also a good reminder that the Matt Clausen broke this to me, although it probably was out there in other places. The insurance protections actually improved a little bit on the Sapphire cards. I think the rental car maximum coverage went from 50K up to 70K for rentals or something like that. They're changing the company that does them. And then I think the maximum for evacuation went up from like $500,000 to 750,000 or something along those lines. I don't remember what it was, but basically the thresholds got better on the kind of stuff you hope you're never, ever going to have to use. All right, next DUGROZ data point. This one's a little obscure, but I'm going to roll with it here. So I was at Walmart before I went on vacation to Washington, D.C., and happened to see an advertisement at checkout for this debit card. It's called the One debit card, ONE, and I actually have it here somewhere. Let me figure out where I put it. And there's a couple of different things that kind of caught my eye. First of all, like it's not a very big sign-up bonus, but a super easy sign-up bonus is part of it. And there's two different sign-up bonuses. This one says $15 cash back on a purchase of $15 or more on your next purchase at Walmart. And it's not ends August 5th for everyone. It ended August 5th for me because you have to do it within a certain time frame. So that was easy. I've actually already got that one. So here's what the card looks like. I haven't removed the sticker yet, and I haven't even taken out of the paper. But there, you got your one card. Kind of a nice, clean, plain blue card. So I'm okay with it. And again, this is a debit card with a D as in DUGROZ. So you don't have to worry about like a hard pull. You don't have to worry about they probably run Active Check or whatever that banking system is. Anybody on here know what it's called? Check systems, something like that? Just put a comment, let me know. They probably won one of those, so like a soft pull, but I don't think there's a hard pull involved, and at least it wouldn't be a new line of credit, so it doesn't hurt Chase 524. Filmo says check, CHEX, like Chex Mix. Okay. So that was the first part of the bonus. And then the second part was I have not yet achieved. There is a secondary bonus. Is that easy to see or hard to see? Let me try zooming in. There we go. Okay. Complete all of the steps below. For some reason, YouTube keeps trying to run an ad. It's run like 3 ads in the last 2 minutes. So are you guys getting advertisements or is this just a fake out? Let me know. I have no control over that. I apologize where they place them. Sometimes I can skip them, sometimes I can't. You get another $25 bonus if you complete all of these steps within 15 days and receive $25. And the steps are log into the account. That's easy. Add your debit card to Apple Pay. That's easy. Fund your account. You just have to move over, I think, $100 or more from like a different bank account debit card to this account, and then make a purchase. And if it matters, the make a purchase in this particular case means through their debit card. And I specify through their debit card because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like a mobile wallet that you can only use at Walmart. It has, in fact, it pulls up something that looks a lot like a mobile wallet. I'll see if I can show you a picture here. So the question was, does it count as a mobile wallet or not? So you can pay with any card. My first card, where I just had to make at least a $15 purchase, I used a different credit card. It's not tap to pay. So when you go to check out at Walmart, there's a QR code on the screen, and you like literally scan it with your camera while you have this app open. Here, I'll show you what it looks like. So like, it looks like that. I mean, doesn't that look like a mobile wallet? Looks a lot like a mobile wallet to me, but it's not tap to pay. It's like through that QR code system. So I made a purchase that way. I have to make a purchase through their fake mobile wallet thing directly on the OnePay debit card to get my $25. But that's pretty easy. You know, $15, $25, $40. It was all electronic. I mean, they send you the debit card, but I didn't even have to wait for the debit card to arrive. Really, really easy. $40 for free. Cesar Joel is here. How you doing, Cesar? Mi hermano. So there's one thing that you might all be wondering, and yes, I did try it. I knew it was a long shot. It was a real long shot, but I'm like, is there a chance that the US Bank Altitude Reserve card would code this as mobile wallet, solving every single Walmart problem we've ever had? And the answer is no, it did not. Earning rate 1x. So yeah, I made my purchase there. And I made it a pretty big purchase. I got some gift cards just in case it coded as 3x, but it did not. So, you know, getting the free $40 is sort of like a, you know, baseball analogy time. I got a solid single. I was hoping it might be a home run. It wasn't a home run. That would have been awesome, but it wasn't. Yeah, $553. So I bought a pair of sunglasses. I got a $50 Walmart gift card and like a $470 Visa prepaid gift card. Yuri G says, no, it will not count. So apparently you already knew that or have tried it or heard about it. Yuri also said it was possible to use Samsung Pay at Walmart before, but they disabled it since then. That's a bummer. Is that like back when they used to like have that older technology where even if it was just a card swiper, you could hold the thing close to it and it would send like a magnetic signal? I almost signed up for that. I almost got like a Samsung watch just so I could use that, but I think it's becoming accepted in fewer and fewer places. Yes, the loop technology. That's right. All right. How about a couple Doctor of Credit mentions here? Hat tip to the good doctor. These are ones that caught my eyes. There is currently a transfer bonus from American Express over to British Airways at a 1 to 1.3 ratio. That's a 30% bonus. And that goes through, can't read the small print. Let me zoom in here. September 30th. So between now and September 30th, you can move your MRs over to British and get a 30% bump. That's almost worth doing speculatively because I use so much, not so much, but usually at least twice a year, I'm flying somewhere on American and I can use the arbitrage through British. Sorry about that. Had a cough. Yuri said you need to have $20 or older. I assume you mean $20 order, $20 or more to use that loop technology Walmart bonus thing. Anyhow, sorry. Is this worth doing? What do you think? Would you transfer speculatively if you fly American at least twice a year? I could see that. All right. Next DUGROZ data point here. Let's see if I can do this without showing all my personal information. I haven't marked anything off yet. New card alert. Peeling off the sticker very slowly and carefully here. Don't want to leave the residue. Ah, crud. I'm getting residue. We hate sticker residue. All right, I'm going to show it without this, with the sticker. It's the Wells Fargo Signify card. So I got the Signify approved and applied for that, I think, Thursday before last. So not this past Thursday, but Thursday before that. Was hoping it would arrive before Monday because that's when my parents' assisted living payment is due. So got it. So I'm going to get a sign-up bonus on the Signify. It's a good kind of round out my wallet card. It's not a home run, but it's like a solid double, maybe a triple on the Signify for a couple reasons. It does have a 50,000 point sign-up bonus when you spend 5,000 or more. So that's like a 10% return on spend. Actually like a 12% return on spend when you factor in the 2x. Secondly, right now, I don't have a true 2% cash back card. I have the Blue Business Plus from American Express, but since I don't have a business platy and I don't have a Charles Schwab platy, I'm only getting 80 cents on the dollar if I cash that out, and that sucks. So I don't want to do that. I have the Venture X, which is 2x everywhere, but you can't directly cash out Venture X points either, Capital One miles. You can only use the Travel Eraser. So if I want true straight up cash, the Signify lets you actually cash out 2% if you want to go that route. Yuri says, I have $20 Ultra and I tried it recently at Walmart. It didn't work. However, it works at other stores such as Home Depot, Kroger, etc. What is Ultra? I don't even know what that means. Philmo says British Airways at 30% is sweet. I already transferred 50K, no plans. I just know I'll use them. Why not? As it relates to the Signify, both John and Cesar congratulated me. Says it's a very good card. Yuri got 6 new cards in the last few days. Oh, my word. 2 honors, 2 surpass, and 2 choice select. Travel race was pretty easy. Yuri clarifies $20 Samsung Ultra. Okay, let's keep going here. I've got another from the good doctor, from the doctor of credit here. This is a targeted offer, so you may or may not get it. Amazon get 30% off when using 1 penny in rewards dollars. And to be specific, this is referring to Amex issued cards. Amex issued cards that pay cash back only. So we're talking like your Blue Cash Preferred, Blue Cash Everyday, and Cash Magnet. You can link those to your Amazon account, pay directly on Amazon. And if you're targeted, penny to get 30% off up to $30 in discount. So you might buy like a hotels.com gift card, $70 gets you a $100 gift card, that kind of thing. So that could be worth doing. Just use the penny, of course. It is targeted, so does not apply to everyone. I think that's the last of the DUGROZ data points here. Yep, everything else is for afterwards. Oh, there's one more kind of random data point I'll share here. Here's how many subscribers I have right now, 1,965. So we're on the push to 2,000. So if any of you watching now or after the fact are not yet subscribed, please click the subscribe button. See if we can get me up over 2,000 in the near future. All right. Thank you, everyone. Let's see. Yuri says not $20, but S20. Tom DeCass is here. How are you doing, Tom DeCayas? I think I pronounced it right once and wrong once. I apologize. When you upgrade the Sapphire fee, it's like 30 days later. You have 30 days to downgrade your Sapphire and get you get your fee refunded, I have for the past 2 years used the $300 travel credit. Yeah, I know there is a play there, Tom, where you can I did this once where like you can downgrade from the CSR to the CSP, and like right before you do that, use your travel credit and only pay the lower annual fee. John R coming in strong with a $2 super chat. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Everyone click his like button. And you too can drop a super chat. That helps fund a new microphone, a new cell phone for me. I got the new computer running, so less glitchy than usual. I noticed when I did a live stream with Stan that my microphone's not quite as good as his is, so still having that technology fun going. All right. It is time for the theme of the day. Theme of the day. Theme of the day. Theme of the day. I've got it open here in Google Slides. I just got to do some opening and some reconnoitering here. So now seems like the perfect time to take our biology break. So let's go ahead and do that. It'll be about 90 seconds. Some of you will get an advertisement and will just stare, and some of you will just stare at the wall. So if you do have an advertisement, please watch it for at least 30 seconds, because what else are you going to do? And that supports the channel. Sit tight. If anyone comes on board and wonders where I am, tell them I'm in the bathroom. 90 seconds. Here we go. Welcome back. Did you get an advertisement? Filmo got a Southwest advertisement. Well, that's very on topic. Okay. Hey, John McKinstry got the ad during the break. That's super. Great timing. All right. 39 of you still on board. Thank you for being here. The theme of the day is the one key credit card that is sometimes called the Expedia card. And it is the rewards program of Expedia, Hotels.com, and VRBO. Those three, I don't know if they've been the same ownership group all along, but they have now merged and are part of the same group in terms of rewards, all the same rewards program. So let's get a little bit of history here for me. When I first got into points and miles, hotels.com was kind of my go-to program for hotel stays. Hey, Xavier ID just dropped a $9.99 super chat. Celebrate. Thank you, Xavier. He says, I got to head out. I'll catch the rest later. Enjoy, everyone. I appreciate your support, Xavier. Everybody click the like button on his super chat. We would appreciate that. That is party time. Xavier coming in hot. Okay. So I really appreciate all those super chats. That helps keep me going, gives me energy. All right. Hotels.com was appealing to me when I first got into points and miles, 2019 going into 2020. In fact, the first ever points and miles trip that I took with family was in the late winter of 2020, February of 2020. Do all of you remember what happened in March of 2020? There was this thing called COVID-19. It was actually really good timing. I'm glad we took the vacation when we do, because we almost never travel during the school year. It was kind of like a once in a lifetime thing where my wife's schedule just worked out perfectly. And it was like while we're on vacation, we started hearing news things about COVID-19 and this thing in China. And a few people were wearing masks, but not very many. And then like we get back from vacation and the NCAA tournament was shut down because of COVID. So it was our right before COVID vacation. We went to the Grand Canyon in Arizona, stayed in Page, Arizona, which is north central Arizona, got a very nice sleep in. It was perfectly cromulent. And I bought all the gift cards for that at Staples using my Inc. Business Cash. So I would also do things like that, you know, get a 30% off using one MR point or one Chase point or one Discover point or whatever, or one penny of cash back. So it was common to be able to buy hotels.com gift cards at a 20 to 40% discount. So that was sort of my go-to technique. That was before I was able to pay for all of my travel out of my travel savings account. So I did have a little bit of a family budget at that time. As Yuri says, hotels was, past tense, a much better program. At that time, every 10th stay was free based on averages. So like if you averaged $200 per night in hotels, when you hit your 10th night, you would get a $200 credit to use towards that hotel. So functionally, it was 10% back. Then when those programs merged into one key, it got suckified, and now it's only like around 2% instead of 10%. Yuri says, I still have a few thousand hotel gift cards, which I bought with the 15 to 20% discount. That's a lot. I had $200 or $300 or $400 left over that I just finished off this past January when I visited my sister in Chicago. Filmo loved the 10th night deal, used it a few times. Yeah, I probably used it twice, I think. So I probably had about 20 nights at hotels.com. So that's the past tense. 2 or 3 weeks ago, as you see on the screen here, the One Key cards were announced. And this One Key is the rewards program of Expedia, hotels.com, all of them, VRBO. So when the credit cards came out, I thought to myself, is this hackable? Is there something I can do? One thing that caught my eye right away was both cards, even the no annual fee version, has a primary rental car insurance. I'm like, well, that's pretty good for a no annual fee card. So what else do they offer? Well, let's just read through it here and learn about them together. And then after we learn about the cards, I'm going to do a breakdown. And yes, Filmo, there will be math involved. So the no annual fee One Key card, you get $400 in One Key cash after spending $1,000 for the sign-up bonus. One Key cash is basically a credit to use at Expedia Hotels VRBO. On the One Key Plus card, it's a $99 annual fee, and it's $600 on $3,000 of spend. So as a percentage, not as good. but it is more upfront. You get $100 in one key cash every anniversary after your first year, much like a hotel card. So it kind of pays for itself in that way. Now, admittedly, we can talk about opportunity cost and giving full valuation, those kind of things. But if you're going to be staying at a boutique hotel anyway, at least once during the year, just book it through Expedia or hotels.com and it'll pay for itself. Let's see. Here's where it can be used. Yep, we all know about that. All right, so the no annual fee card in addition to the sub. By the way, I like the look of the card in general. I think it's got a sleek look. I really wish they had just put the vertical line here for the word key to be on there. Wonder what Kiki from Kiki's Adventures thinks. This just looks like it's the less than EY sign. I know they're trying to use the edge and be all edgy and creative, but I also wonder if the actual card has a notch cut out of it here at the bottom, or if it's just like white space. If anybody actually has the card, let me know. Filmo coming in hot with a $3.14 super chat, says, math warning. You love math, Filmo. Yeah, $3.14. Is there a significance to that, or do you just pick some randomish number? Because, oh, it's pi, 3.14159, etc. Yes. Okay, I gotcha. Cool. Where were we? It says up to 9% on Expedia, hotels.com, and VRBO. Up to is misleading. This whole thing is misleading, and this kind of is one of the things that ticks me off the most. So it's 3% from the card on certain things, and an extra 6% if you're a platinum member. But neither of those cards come with a platinum membership, so we'll come back to this a little bit later. But if you're silver, which is what the no annual fee card comes with, you get an extra 3%. Gold members get an extra 4%. So at most, they should have said 6% back. That would have been more fair. Technically, if you stay so much, you earn platinum status through stays. Yes, but anyhow, I digress. 3% back on gas, grocery, and dining, and then 1.5% everywhere else. And this is all in the form of one key cash. So these are credits to use at VRBO, Expedia, or hotels.com. Now, 3% on gas, grocery, and dining, that's basically a clone of the City Premier card. But you know what? This is no annual fee, so it does have a leg up there. However, it's one key cash. It's not something you can cash out or send to transfer partners. Although this is not a special combination, this put together is kind of special. There's not a lot of cards that give you 1.5% everywhere else and 3% on these categories in the same card. So minor props for that. All right. Checking the comments real quick here. John McKinstry managed to use the 10th night free deal right before they did away with it. Filmo, John says, wants a piece of that pie. What's weird is in high school, I didn't even like math very much, so now I use it all the time. Let's talk about the $99 annual fee card here. We already know it's sign-up bonus. Again, this is not really going to be 9%. It's going to be the 3 plus the 4, so it's really going to be 7% on their own properties. The gas, grocery, and dining are the same, and the 2% on all the percent of 1.5. So again, this is not special. I have it in my Signify. This is not special, but the combination of 3%, 2% on the same card is kind of special. So I'm instantly thinking this is a good player 2 card. In my household, Mrs. DUGROZ shops around town, buys a lot of stuff. No, not a lot, but a reasonable amount. I do all the online bill pay. So it doesn't really matter for anything online like Amazon or Walmart online. I'm picking what to pay with that. So the only time she's buying things, I would say 75% of her shopping is either gas, grocery, or dining when she's out and about. And 2% everywhere else isn't too bad. So I would actually feel okay about handing this to player 2 and say, just use this for everything. That's what I wanted to do with the Redstone Federal Credit Union card, but as we all know, it got shut down. It is it's either a World MasterCard or a World Elite MasterCard. I don't remember which. Maybe that'll show up later. If you know, let me know. And then $100 every anniversary year is good, cancels out the $99 annual fee. So since you've got that credit, I'm going to be referring to this card from now on for the hassle of having to do one booking to wipe out that $99 annual fee a year. You get an extra 1% on your one key cash when booked through Expedia, VRBO, or hotels, and you get an extra 0.5% everywhere else. You also get gold benefits instead of silver, which we'll get into a little bit later. All right. So now that we know what the cards do, let's go ahead and dive into the math portion of the presentation. Excuse me, I have to sniffle. Sorry, folks. So here is my slideshow. Bear in mind, I did most of this last night, so this isn't exactly like the most high quality thing in the entire world, but gets the job done. So I'm not a graphic designer. One key VIE properties, the DUGROZ comparison. So remember that extra 3% or extra 4%? That only applies to what they call VIP properties. Not every property is a VIP property. So if I just go for the local Holiday Inn Express here, odds are it's not a VIP property. So if you pay with the card, you'll get the 3x on the card if you pay through Expedia or hotels. You'll get the 3x on the card, but you won't get that extra 4%. Thomas Hapuk says, it's World Elite according to the screenshot behind you. Thank you. I'm wondering if I have a little bit of lag because I'm getting comments about things like 30 seconds after I talk about them. So I'm going to jiggle my mouse super aggressive here right now. I'm jiggling my mouse super aggressively. And the last comment is still Thomas's. So let me know if you're picking up on a lag. Anyway, keep going here. So the question is, how many properties are VIP properties? Because that's going to make kind of a difference. And at VIP properties, you get benefits that are kind of like the benefits you would get with a proprietary program like Hilton Honors or like World of Hyatt or IHG's. I don't even remember what IHG calls their program, whatever theirs is called, whatever Wyndham's is called, free breakfast, breakfast coupons, upgrades where available, those kind of things. And we'll get into that as we go here. So let's just dive in. What I did was I picked 3 different locations at random. This is not cherry picked at all. I chose the places first. Then I saw how many VIP properties there were. And then I ran the math. So I had no preconceived notions whatsoever. I would like to do this with about 7 to 10 places, but it took a bit of work and I didn't have time to do. So we'll do a small sample size of 3. Now, before I get into that, I want to give you these cautions. There's 2 cautions here. Caution number 1 is that if you have one key cash, it is counted automatically. So on at least it was on Expedia. I don't remember with hotels.com. No, it was in both places, actually. So I had $31 of one key cash just hanging out. That was from my travels back in January, the last time I used hotels.com. So the slider is on by default. So in order to compare Expedia to buying direct with a hotel, you have to disable that. Otherwise, it's going to artificially show Expedia as $31 less than the actual price. So I did turn that off for every price comparison. Just be aware, by default, they have you use any one key cash that you have on hand. John R. says no lag here. Tom Graber says the mouse jiggle was real time. Tom Hapuk says, I think you're seeing about 20 seconds behind schedule. Well, that's not so bad. The second caution I want to give is that gold is only 4%. I already talked about that. So you get automatic silver status with the no annual fee card. You get automatic gold status with the annual fee card. Unless you're staying like 30 nights a year, you won't have platinum status. I didn't even look what it is, but you have to stay a lot. I think it's probably more than that to get platinum status. So you're only getting the extra 4% with the automatic gold, not a total of an extra 6. So 3 plus 4 is 7%. If you pay with the card, but it's not a VIP property, you only get the baked in 30% on the card. So we really need to know more about these VIP properties before if we know if it's worth it or not. Ian Michael says, people think there's a lag, they probably aren't live, happens all the time. Okay, well, that's not too big of a deal. If you're 20 seconds behind, I don't care. But I've done that before where, like, I'm watching someone live stream. I have to go grab something. So I hit pause and I come back to it and I unpause it. But now I'm 20, 30, 40 seconds behind. Regardless, let's push on. What do you think I chose for my first random target sample? Well, why not pick the home territory right here in Des Moines, Iowa? So this is where I live. So I thought, hey, why not just start right here at home? Yuri says the sound quality is breaking up a little. If other people are noticing that in any significant way, please let me know. So I picked Des Moines, Iowa. I targeted October 13th through 15th. That's 2 nights. So checking in the 13th, checking out on the 15th. And of the entire greater Des Moines area, there was only 2 properties that were VIP properties. You had the Stony Creek Hotel and the Gateway Hotel at Iowa State University, which is actually in Ames, about a half hour north of here. That was a little disappointing. Des Moines not like a metropolis by any means, but the whole metropolitan area has between 500,000 and 750,000 people. You'd think there'd be more than 2 VIP hotels, but alas, little disappointing. There were only 2. I've actually stayed at the Stony Creek Hotel before. It used to go by Stony Creek Inn. Now it goes by Stony Creek Hotels. So I'll call it Stony Creek Inn. There actually used to be a little jingle where the lady sang a song. She said, "Talking about Stony Creek Inn." One of those like edgy song rap type things. I wish I could find the commercial. I'd play it for you. Key on that. We'll stay at the Stony Creek Inn. We'll use Expedia, and we'll go for the Deluxe King, which is actually the basic, literally their least expensive room they offer. So the Deluxe King, also known as Basic King, was a total of $192. Obviously staying in, what did I say, February? No, October. Cash prices are fairly low. So 2 nights, $84 a night. With tax, that comes to $192.13. All right, now let's find out. And it says there's a graphic that says member price 10% off. So by just having the basic lowest level membership, not even gold, because it's a VIP property, I'm getting 10% off. Now, there are some properties in every city that get member pricing, but they're not VIP. Frankly, I think the whole rewards program is a little convoluted, and maybe by design, like they want to confuse people into thinking some things are a bigger deal than they actually are, which is kind of unfortunate. But let's remember that number, $192. So if I had booked direct with the Stony Creek Inn, it would have been $248. And I did double check. It's the exact same room, the exact same dates, $248 instead of $192. Well, hey, Expedia came through. That VIP/members pricing actually made a difference. So booking direct, it would have been $248 and change. Instead, with this booking through Expedia, it was only $192. One key wins by $56.51. So that's a savings of $23. Again, remember that's only on the VIP properties. Let's see. John McKinstry says the video is freezing on my end, but I'm thinking it's a glitch in the Fire TV app. Okay, well, given there's only been 2 people out of 43 saying anything, I doubt it's a major concern. So I'm going to press ahead, but let me know if it is. So Des Moines, Iowa. I also decided to do a comparison, with the autograph journey. You'll remember a month ago or so, I asked, is the Wells Fargo autograph journey the ultimate road trip card? And I concluded, no, it's really not. And the reason why it's not is because you're essentially foregoing the discounts that the program itself gives you by booking with, by not booking through their credit card. Well, let's run the same comparison, assuming you're going to use the one key card. You're going to use it on Expedia or hotels.com. So you get their card benefits, you get their 3x, 4x because you're a gold member, and just see what happens. So we save $56 just from the VIP thing. It was $192.13, so 3% on the card would be $5.76. It's 4% from the gold status. Now, Doug, why didn't you apply the full $192? Well, in the fine print, it says that the gold status 4% one key rewards does not include taxes. Now, my thought was, on the credit card, there's no way Wells Fargo, who's the credit card issuer, is smart enough to figure out third-party data and pull in and only apply the 3% savings to the price before taxes. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming you're going to get the full 3% on the credit card part. But on the internal rewards part, I went back and looked at one of my stays, and it's true. They only give you the extra one key on the non-taxable portion. I only get 2% right now because I'm a basic member, not a gold member. So total value, $69 when you add all these things together. By the way, VRBO's not particularly exciting because having the card doesn't get you anything on VRBO. You just get the same 2% that everybody else does, plus whatever you get in the card itself. So I didn't do any VRBO examples. If I had used the Wells Fargo autograph journey, it would have been the full price times 5x. And the full price is higher. That would be 1,243 points. I feel like this is generous, assuming I value Wells Fargo points at 2 cents per point. I actually only valued it 1.5 personally, but let's say 2 cents per point, $24 in total value. Obviously, 69 kicks the butt of $24 in value, so I'd much rather have the one key rewards. John says, click like and subscribe if you haven't already. Apparently, a lot of people don't like math because I just dropped from 42 views down to 28. Oh, well, those of us who are the real people who care are still on board. Next target, Washington, D.C. I targeted February 23rd and 26th. I just came from Washington, D.C., so it's on my mind, I guess. When I searched D.C., now there were a lot more. Obviously, Washington, D.C., a lot bigger than Des Moines, Iowa, has a lot more hotels. There were more than 20 properties that were VIP access properties. We got the Churchill, Salamander, Washington, D.C. I stayed at a Salamander in Virginia. And we have the Viceroy, Washington, D.C. are the 3 examples. But again, there were more than 20 examples. I decided to use the Viceroy as my example through hotels.com. I got the one king standard room. And for these 3 nights, it came out to $1,343.07. That's kind of pricey. $170 per night, plus there's a $90 resort fee and a $14 property fee. Ouch. Take all that times 3, comes out to $1,343. Washington, D.C. is an expensive place, folks. Feel bad for people like Josh Giebel who have to live there. I don't know why it has us pay some now and some at the property, because I chose pay now for all of these, but for whatever reason it does. Now, this little thing popped up, and it only appeared when I chose the refundable rate. I was always going to choose the refundable rate anyway, but it said breakfast for 2 people. And I think that's just because at this property, if you do non-refundable, it's cheaper, but you don't get free breakfast. They give people an incentive to choose refundable. It includes breakfast if you choose the refundable rate. Another interesting thing is there's this thing that says VIP access. When you're silver, you get a perk like food and drink extras, free breakfast, or parking credits. If you're gold, you get all those same things plus a room upgrade when available. It says you're saving 10% or more on select rooms because you're blue. Blue is their basic member. If I was gold, would it be more than 10%? It's sort of like you have to open the card and then find out how the benefits treat you. DC is expensive, Cesar. You're right. Zachary Hagland is here. Hey, how you doing, Zachary? Looks like they charge the resort and property fee when you arrive at the party. Yeah, but this times 3 is way more than this. So I'm not exactly sure what that means, but this plus this equals this. I don't know. Maybe they charge 1 day of the resort and property fee when you first show up. That would make sense. Or maybe it's just displayed wrong. Who knows? Hopefully this price is correct. So I don't like the ambiguity of like, if I get gold, it'll be more than 10%, but I won't know until I actually get gold. It's like when Nancy Pelosi several years ago said, you have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. You have to sign up for the card to find out exactly how the perks work. So we'll get to more of that in a moment. If I book direct with the Viceroy, you'll see it says park, eat, stay. It came out to $1,609. So that's actually more. So once again, Expedia and hotels.com did come through for me. Again, if you toggle to the refundable rate, they call it the park, eat, stay rate, and it includes free breakfast and free parking. Now, when I booked through hotels.com, it did not explicitly say it included free parking. It just says parking available. So my best guess is that the hotel's refundable rate matches the Viceroy refundable rate. So they probably both include free breakfast and free parking since they charge you more. But since the hotels.com never actually explicitly said free parking, I cannot guarantee that. So yeah, in this particular case, Washington, D.C., there's the Washington Monument, there's the Lincoln Memorial. We have 1,609 versus 1,343. One Key wins again by $266. And they said savings of at least 10%. They were right. It was a savings of 17%. I do have to put the disclaimer, One Key may not give free parking, so that could be a difference. I would want to call. So it is fully cancelable. So if you were driving a car and you needed to know this for sure, parking in DC is expensive. It's probably at least $20 a day, maybe more. That's probably ridiculously low. It's probably $30 a day for a parking garage. I would book it, then I would call the Viceroy a day or two later and say, hey, I booked through Expedia because I have member status or silver status or gold status, whatever. And it says the rate I booked is the equivalent of your park, eat, stay rate. But I just want to make sure that it's that same rate. And I want to make sure you actually get free, because I wouldn't put it past a hotel to say, we don't get as much money when you book through Expedia, so we're going to make up for that by not giving you free parking and making you pay $30 a day for the free parking. It's possible. I can't guarantee it. Hey, we have 50 people on board. We're close to the all-time high, I think, of 53 at one time. Let me know if we passed that. So in summary, One Key gave $266 in savings just by being cheaper. The 3% of the card gave me $40. The 4% for being gold status gave $42. So the total value was $349.63. If I'd used the autograph journey directly with the Viceroy Hotel, it only would have been $160. So if you make the assumption that you're comfortable using Expedia, you're getting a lot more value here. But again, catch is, it's only on VIP properties. The third example, well, as long as we're sticking with places that I've been, why not stick with it all the way? Whoop, sorry, folks. Phone went off. Why not stick with places I've been? Why not an international place? So how about Gothenburg, Sweden, which is pronounced Göteborg? It's one of those towns where they have an English spelling and a Swedish spelling. So I was told on a tour that either pronunciation is fully acceptable. You can say Gothenburg or Göteborg. And we're targeting November 5 through 9. That's 4 nights. I'm guessing Sweden in November is not a hot den, so it's probably why you'll notice the prices are fairly cheap. And there are 5 properties available. Now, I actually viewed that as kind of a good thing. Just going from memory, Gothenburg is the second largest city in Sweden. Sweden's not a big country. I think the entire country has 5 million people. And if I remember correctly, Göteborg proper has around 100,000 people. The whole metropolitan area is like 250,000, 350,000, somewhere in that area. So it's actually smaller than Des Moines, Iowa, but because it's more of a tourist destination, it has more properties. So some examples are the Comfort Hotel in Göteborg, the Hotel Odin. That's actually where I stayed, that hotel where I got free supper. And the Gibson's Hotel. The one I actually chose was a whole different one. It's called the Hotel Post. And I realized I didn't put in pictures of the first 2 hotels I used. Yuri corrected me, said Sweden has around 10 million. So sorry, I was a little... this one, because it was so cool looking, I wanted to share pictures. This is actually the hotel that I mostly wanted to stay at in Sweden because it looked cooler than the one we chose, but it did not have the free supper, and with a family, I wanted the free supper. The Hotel Post is a Clarion hotel. It's also a Strawberry hotel, and this is such a weird thing. So in Sweden, all of the choice hotels used to be called Nordic Choice Hotels, and around the time we traveled in 2023, I think like a month before, they rebranded themselves as Strawberry Hotels. You can still book it through Choice, but I wonder if it's a different ownership group or something. It's almost like more of a subcategory of Choice Hotels under Choice Hotels, these Strawberry Hotels, but I assure you it is part of Choice Hotels. So yeah, rooftop pool looks really nice, although I bet it's not quite as nice in November. Really nice beds and stuff. Oop, actually I clicked something. This is what it looks like at night. Clarion Hotel Post. Just really cool looking. They've got a little outdoor cafe down here. All right, so let's do the math. On Expedia, I went for the standard twin room and 4 nights with tax. That's $639.70. $142 per night. That's not too bad. Everyone gets breakfast and loves it. And what I mean by that is it seems like in Sweden, or at least in Göteborg, every single hotel gives free breakfast. It doesn't matter if it's like, we would think of like the equivalent of a Holiday Inn Express gets free breakfast, but a Holiday Inn doesn't. A Kimpton doesn't, unless you have status or something. Apparently not. In Sweden, all these different hotels, everyone gets free breakfast. It's just part of it. You don't have to have status or anything. And I said loved it because the Google reviews, everybody was raving about the breakfast. So remember down here, it says you get a perk like food and drink extras, free breakfast, or parking. So my question is, if everybody gets free breakfast, what perk do members get? Maybe a ticket, like a ticket for a free drink at the bar. They do have a bar. They have a restaurant in addition to the free breakfast. Maybe you get a discount on a meal. This is what I mean by it's ambiguous. So like I get something for being a gold member, for being... I know that's the villain in one of the Austin Powers movies, but that's what it's called. I get a benefit for being a gold member, but I don't know what the benefit is. That's one of the things that's been frustrating in this whole process. If you book directly, and I checked Strawberry's site and I checked Choice Hotel site, they're exactly the same. It was 8,420 Swedish kroner. And I did the conversion, and it came out to $796.42. So this is what it looks like during the day. Very historic and cool looking. I think it was actually like a customs house or something. $796 versus $639. One key wins by $156.72. That's a savings of 19%. So I won't do the individual math this time, so I think you've gotten the drill. But if I do the savings that's baked in, the credit card, the gold member benefit, that's $198.76 in value. If I just book directly and use the autograph journey, $79.64 in value. Now, of the 3 hotels that we looked at, the Stony Creek Inn in Des Moines, the Viceroy in Washington, D.C., and then this one. This is the only one that's part of like a major hotel chain. So I will admit this is a little unfair because even though you wouldn't get any choice hotel benefits on the credit card, you would get some sort of choice points just by being a member. So it'd probably be a little bit better value. I doubt it's $100 more value. So One Key is still kind of kicking tush here. Seeing if there's any comments. And is a part of choice. That's right. All right, so let's average it on out. So in Des Moines, we got a 23% VIP discount. In Washington, D.C., we got a 17% discount. And in Gothenburg, we got a 19% discount. So on the average, we're talking a on the average, we're talking a 19.7% discount. Just for the sake of discussion, if you don't mind, let's round that off to 20%. Or we could even say 18 to 20%, 17 to 20%, somewhere in that range. That's actually better than I thought it would be. So like I said, I did not cherry pick. I just thought, let's check Des Moines, let's check DC, let's check Göteborg and see what they come out to. And this is what I came up with. If booking directly had been cheaper, I would have let you know. But this is just what it was. And the dates I picked were completely random. So what do you guys think? Is that significant? Would you pay with cash as opposed to points if you knew you're going to get 20% off? Well, there's a truckload of factors that go into this. So speaking of truckloads of factors, big benefit, 20% discount. There are some unknowns, some things that need to be clarified that it seems like it's awfully hard to find out. Unknown number 1. So when I ran this check, I only have the basic One Key cabs, which they call blue status, the one that you get just by signing up. Will gold status get even better than a 20% average discount? Unfortunately, the only way to find out is to either earn gold status, which I'm not going to do, or sign up for the credit card. I just don't know. I mean, it says on the screen, as a blue member, you'll get a discount of at least 10%. If it says if I'm a gold member, will it be at least 15%? Will it be at least 20%? I don't know. How reliable is the perk like food and beverage credit? I mean, how many bookings for gold members does the Stony Creek Inn in Des Moines, Iowa get? How many bookings does the Hotel Post in Gothenburg, Sweden get for Expedia gold members? If I go to the front desk, say, hi, I'd like to check in. By the way, I'm an Expedia gold member. Are they going to say like, okay, thank you? And that's my Swedish accent, if you're wondering. Yes, we'd be glad to help. I do not know. Here's a free bottle of water. And just because they've never done it before, I don't know how reliable it is. Free parking is given as an example. How reliable is that? Well, in Des Moines, Iowa, at the Stony Creek Inn, there's a parking lot. Everybody parks for free. Doesn't matter. But in Washington, D.C. and Gothenburg, Sweden, you're going to pay for parking. I don't remember. I didn't try to drive a car in Sweden. I already talked about how expensive D.C. parking is. But I walked past that hotel at least once, maybe twice, the Post, and kind of admired it, looked at how good it was. There was no parking lot. There was no American Midwest style parking lot right out the back door. So they're directing you to a nearby parking garage if it works, and you're getting like a stamp on it saying you've validated your parking. How reliable is that? I don't know. Is it a perk that shows up? Is the front desk staff going to even know about it? By the way, the other Clarion Hotel, or was it a Comfort Inn, whatever it was, the Hotel Odin we stayed at in Gothenburg, the service was top notch. I remember this one specific young lady who worked the front desk who was just so friendly. She gave us free sandwiches one night because they ran out of pizza. And they would always say, we'll make it right. Where were we? How often do you actually get a free upgrade? You know, it says free upgrades where available. 10% of the time, 50% of the time, 90% of the time? We just don't know. Does the system actually exclude the taxes on the 4%? Like, when you pay, you get 3% one key on the card, then you get 4% from your gold member status. I'm thinking it probably does exclude it because I did some quick and dirty mental math at like midnight last night for one of my old bookings, and I think it excluded it, but I'm just not 100% sure on that. The key to all of this, pun intended. The automatic gold status is much more important than the earnings. So if I said you're going to earn 3% on gas, grocery, dining, and all of your Expedia and hotels.com bookings, and you have to spend it in the form of Expedia cash, you would think to yourself, I got a lot of credit cards that give 3% on gas, groceries, dining. I've got a 2X Everywhere card. I can still use Expedia, but if that's all it did, there's really no point in getting the card. I could just cash out and use my 3X or 2X cards to buy into Expedia. It's nice that the $99 annual fee is offset by the $100 annual credit, but there's no annual fee cards that give 3X on gas, grocery, and dining. You get gas and dining on the Wells Fargo Autograph. You get grocery on the Capital One Saver One, which Capital One still won't let me convert to. You've got the City Double Cash. You've got your Wells Fargo Signify. Those are all no annual fee cards. So paying an extra $100 and then getting a coupon for $100 isn't really a benefit unless the card itself has benefits. And that's where the gold status comes into play here. The gold status is what gets us the extra 4%. And again, because it excludes taxes, it's really like 3.5%, depending on how much the taxes and fees are. And it might get better perks and discounts. A lot of data points are needed. Am I going to get a lot of upgrades? Am I going to actually get the free breakfast? Am I going to actually get the parking? What we need is a lot more data. Unfortunately, I don't see a truckload of people signing up for this card and doing the research. Filmo says, too many variables for me. I'll wait for someone else at first. That's the $1 million question. So here's an observation that I want to make. And I've got a picture of 2 credit cards on the screen here that I kind of like. The observation is you can do this, but you don't have to pay the hotel cost with your one key card. So for example, you could use a 1.5x card like the Aeroplan or the US Bank Altitude Reserve, and then either pay yourself back here or use real-time rewards here. So one thing I thought to myself is I don't like to pay cash for hotels if at all possible. But sometimes the cash rates are lower, so I can indirectly pay with points. I would rather get 1.5x than cash out like my Chase points at 1x. So you can still do that. And if you did that, let's just use an example. Let's say you have your annual $100 of one key cash. You could apply the $100 of one key cash to your VIP booking and then put the rest of it on one of these cards. Now, in so doing, you would earn the 4% that's baked into one key because you're still a gold member, but you would not earn the 3% on the card. That's okay. On the Altitude Reserve, it's going to code as travel anyway. You're going to get 3x. I'd actually rather have 3x US Bank points than 3x one key cash. On the Aeroplan card, unfortunately, travel is only 1x, so it's not as good, but it's still something. What is the best use case in our corner of the internet? So we know that there's going to be people out there who will say, and rightfully so, if you're a normie, you're not into points and miles, or at least not into it heavily, and you use Expedia and you're like the college student who travels twice a year, this might be a good card. Keep it simple. Just use Expedia for everything. But I'm not talking about that. What's my use case? What's Filmo's use case? What's Brian's use case? What's Xavier's use case? What's all of our use cases? And here's my thoughts on that. First of all, you have to find a VIP property. If you don't find a VIP property, the math isn't that great. You can be a member of Expedia without having the card. You just wouldn't get the gold member stuff. You wouldn't get that extra 3%. And in addition to a VIP property, it's going to be best when cash rates are low relative to points. So the example I used of Des Moines and Gothenburg, both of those, the cash rates were pretty low. I think it was like $129 a night here in Des Moines, $150 a night in Gothenburg, because they were non-peak times. We're talking like October and November, and it's cold in those places, so people don't go as much. A real life example is I visited my sister in the suburbs of Chicago in the first week in January. Like, not right after New Year, so not like January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, but after everybody had already gone back to work, like the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere in that range. Cash rates were really low. Like, when I tried to book a Hilton, like nothing was over half a cent per point. So it was one of those scenarios. The time of year combined with the place, cash rates are low. I think that's a great time to use Expedia or hotels.com. And thirdly, it's also a time when you don't need a hotel reward specific perk. For example, a hotel where everyone gets free breakfast, like the Stony Creek Inn in Des Moines, like the Hotel Post in Gothenburg. That way, you're not all worried and Twitter-pated about whether or not you're Twitter-pated is not the right word. You're not all consternated about whether or not you're going to get your free breakfast, because everybody gets free breakfast, like a Holiday Inn Express or something like that. I like earning, choice points at Holiday Inn Expresses. I like redeeming there, but does my platinum status at Holiday Inn Express get me much? Not really. So for me, I really like corn. And also, I asked in the title of this video, is this a game changer? It's not a game changer, using old analogies. It's not a home run. It could be a solid double. It could be a resource when cash rates are the best choice based on some matrix of location or cost. JP Knowledge has said in several of his videos that he's willing to pay a little more to get a good location. So like if you have a wedding or a family reunion to go to, and there's one hotel that's right next to the church or the venue or whatever where you're meeting, and there's another hotel that's a better rate, but it's 40 miles away, maybe this would be a good time to stay at that obscure non-chain hotel right next to the church. Will I dive in and get this card just for research? Well, I don't know. As Filmo says, there's too many variables for him at this moment. If I got this, it would be for two reasons. Reason one would be a player two type thing. I know, she could use it for groceries, gas, dining easily, 2x everywhere. It's one of those cards where if you accidentally use it the wrong place, you're at least getting 2x, so I feel good about that. Mrs. DUGROZ, player 2, is under 524 right now by quite a bit. She's either 224 or 124. So I've got some wiggle room to experiment and still do the ink train later this year or first part of next year. So I'm not going to get it myself because I'm over 524 and don't fall back under until late May of next year, and I want to keep going with the ink train. So I'm not going to get it. Let me know your thoughts. A, is this something you would get for yourself or your player 2? And B, do you think I should get it for my player 2? I'm kind of leaning towards yes, actually, because it seems like there's at least one hotel stay every year where we're doing something like this. I used my early January example of staying at a random Embassy Suites in Deerfield, Illinois, when cash rates were only like $120 or $130 a night, and Hilton points were only like half a cent each. So I would use that one key cash, the free $100, at least once a year. Another possibility is rental cars. I didn't even look into rental cars. I thought to myself, let's say I find a rental car through Expedia and it's a pretty good price. That would be another use case. I could put it on this card, get my 3%. They don't have VIP. The reason I focus on hotels is because that VIP extra 4% only applies to hotels. It doesn't apply to flights, doesn't apply to rental cars. I don't see any benefits whatsoever for getting this card for the sake of hotels. Like I said, unless you're just a normie who wants to keep it simple and book everything. But I'm wondering if there's a little bit of hackability with rental cars, or at least, I'm getting primary rental car insurance. I'm getting 3x at a bare minimum. I do know that. Yuri says the Priceline card gives 5x on Priceline and also VIP status. Each Priceline point is 1.67 cents per point. Gives a VIP Gold, which is the second highest, no annual fee. So it sounds like that would be a pretty good competitor. Filmo78 says, I do not think I would get it at this point, but I will say it's interesting, or at least I would not get it at this point. Yeah. Cesar says, sounds like a very good card. Because I'm a content creator and it would give me good content to talk about that kind of fits in my wheelhouse of, I'm just going to stay at some random roadside hotel in Ogallala, Nebraska. I think I probably will, like Filmo just said, for channel research, go for it. But I'm still a little bit undecided. All right, we're a little bit after 11 o'clock Central Time, so that takes care of the main event. Let's move on to the community tab question. So every Friday, I post a question on the community tab. Not really a question, but like an ask me anything where you can ask me any question you want. And I will also have a picture of the day with it. So I'm finding that right now. Sorry for the delays here. My kids just got home from a week of camp and I'm hearing them and thinking about them and that kind of stuff. So I got a little thrown off there. Okay. So what was the picture of the week, you ask? Well, here it is. This is going to be a good one. Are you ready? There it is. So it's me standing next to a giant blue chicken. Anybody want to throw out a guess here live before I give away the answer? There was one person who guessed it right. Richie, the CEO, said something about I'm a mature adult, so I'll keep my mouth closed. Those kind of things. Thank you, Richie. I appreciate that. Oops, zoomed in way too much. All right. The winner was Rem GB10, who guessed the National Gallery of Art in Washington, D.C. So in Washington, D.C., they have the National Museum of Art, or the National Art Gallery. John said he already saw the answer, so can't guess. And they have two buildings. The larger, more traditional-looking building, kind of that Greco-Roman style, is what you'd think of as your normal artwork, like classic paintings like Picasso, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, that kind of stuff from the olden days when painters were painters and super talented. Then they have a separate building. I think it's called the East Building, which is the modern art building. And you can go on the roof of that building. It's sort of like a terrace thing where there's a top level you can't go on, but the second highest level has some art out on the terrace. And one of the pieces of art on the terrace on the modern art building is this giant blue rooster looking at the Capitol building. It was originally built in London and it pointed at Parliament, and it was some sort of like political statement, complaining about all the men in government and how they're all, a common nickname for a man who is way too boisterous is someone who's cocky. So, chickens call it a cock, and there was some sort of tie in there about like government abuses and stuff. And when London didn't want it anymore, apparently Washington, D.C. says, oh, we'll take it. There was other art in that building that was kind of like this. Not my cup of tea, but if you like it, that's totally fine. So let's go ahead and start reading the questions here on the community tab. One that I saved, somebody asked me a long time ago and I never got around to it. I don't remember who it was, so we'll call it an anonymous question. Do you dream about points and miles? Like, do you literally, like in your sleep, dream about points and miles? And as much time I spend talking about it, you would think the answer is yes, but the actual answer is no. I have never had a dream where in my dream I'm trying to figure out if I want to use my Chase card or my Wells Fargo autograph or anything like that. I think it's because dreams are more, is it right brain, which is creative, left brain, which is mathematical. It's the creative brain that comes out in my sleep. So, like, I have a flying dog or something like that. I think because points and miles is too boring and calculations based, I never dream about it. Now, I do dream about the vacations that I want to take with points and miles, or I dream about taking or vacations I have taken. Like, I might have a dream about going to Sweden, but it's not like a dream about the points and miles aspect. I dream about the things I did in Sweden, like riding the boat, like seeing the gardens, that kind of stuff. Cesar says, I daydream every now and then. Filmo says, after having just visited the Museum of Modern Art and many museums in Amsterdam, I can say art is weird. I don't disagree with you. Cesar is daydreaming about an Amex upgrade offer. To that, Anthony Venture responded, I literally just had a dream last night where I was live streaming going to a hotel and asked for an upgrade, and they gave me like the craziest room ever with maybe 5 hot tubs, an outside area, and it was huge. So I guess this time I did dream about points and miles. I asked him if it was the $60 Quality Inn. He said no, it was kind of like a budget hotel that had a secret wall that dropped into the floor, and then the stairs were exposed that led up to the presidential suite. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Anthony. I appreciate it. All right. Let's see. We have Richie's joke. We have RemGB's guess. We have Anthony's comment. John's from John's Credit and Travel, also known as John R., said, how amazing was it to do a live stream with John last Saturday? Is that something that could be a regular thing? Well, I think it was pretty awesome. That John R. guy is pretty cool, and we're both from the Midwest. He's from Kansas City. I'm from Des Moines. Even though we've never met in person, we get along great, but we are going to meet in person in New Orleans in just about a month, maybe actually a little less than a month from now. So could it become a regular thing? I'm good with the concept. You folks let me know if there's something you want to see and what kind of thing we should focus on. I don't have the bandwidth to do it weekly. I want to keep this Saturday morning slot in its current format, but I could see maybe a monthly or probably more likely like a quarterly feature. Live streams are kind of like your Amex credits. Some are weekly, some are monthly, some are quarterly, some are semi-annual, some are annual. Filmo votes for a second live stream. John R. says, we'll talk it over. We sure will. Let's get to New Orleans first. Next question is from Ian Mascal. Do you do any MS? MS in this context stands for manufactured spending. If you do, any tips? I have a hard time liquidating gift cards via money orders. I will give you 2 different pieces of information on that. First of all, yes, I do some manufactured spending. I'm backing off right now because I'm finding it's just not as rewarding as it used to be. I'll give you one example. When I first got into points and miles, I could go to Staples when they have their fee-free gift cards, Visa or MasterCards, and they're always $200, and I could buy 5 of those for $1,000 total. And then at that time, there are some, not a lot, some drugstores and some places like some post offices, but not all, some grocery stores, definitely not all, who will let you buy money orders with a debit card. So I could just do swipe, 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 and buy $1,000 money order. That's the biggest money order you can get. So it was relatively easy. And if you want to hear something even more crazy, with manufactured spending, so there was a prepaid reloadable card through Western Union. It was like sort of like if you've ever heard of like the Green Dot card or the Serve card from Wells Fargo or the old Bluebird card. You could load funds onto it for $5 a pop. With this particular Western Union card, I got it to work early on. This was like 2019 at Casey's General Store, the gas station. I think their controls were just bad. I could literally say, I want to load $500 onto my prepaid card, put a credit card in the credit card reader, and for a purchase. It was not a cash advance. I could make a $500 purchase at that gas station. It goes directly on my prepaid debit card, and then use that debit card to pay the bill of the credit card. Send my money to Giant Store. It was super easy. After I did it like 3 to 5 times, it broke and it wouldn't work anymore. And to this day, I'm convinced that I single-handedly broke manufactured spending at Casey's General Stores. So yes, I do some. It's harder than it used to be. It's very hard time liquidating gift cards. The only thing I'll say is if you want to know more than that, sign up to be a DUGROZ diehard, because I do not talk openly about manufactured spending here on my public channel for very obvious reasons. I will talk about it a little bit more on my members only videos. Filmo says, so you were the one. And Yuri asked if they shut me down. No, they didn't shut me down. It was just like the ability to do it at Casey's went away. Matt Clausen says, would you see yourself recommending the One Key cards to anyone? If not, why? So I'm assuming what he means is not asking whether or not I would get it for myself, but rather would I recommend it to other people? Mostly no. I think only in a very small situation would I recommend it to someone. I'm thinking to myself, like, let's say it's someone who's just insistent that they only want one credit card and they travel to Europe every other year or something like that. But you start talking to them about like Chase cards or Amex cards, something like that, and they just shut down and lose all interest. So it would have to be someone that wants to travel enough to make it worthwhile, but doesn't want to play the points and miles game. I would recommend to that person. Yes, I think for that person, it's good. If for nothing else, the primary rental car insurance, I think that's something a lot of normies just don't know about, but could benefit from hugely. If it's just an average guy or gal who's like in their mid-20s and just getting started, say, hey, what's a good first credit card? I'm not going to recommend it to them because there's so many others to start with. You know, I would probably put them down like the Chase Freedom Path or a Saver One path or something like that. I would give them something that they can use as cash back now, but if they want to transition to points and miles later, they would keep it. So yes, I would recommend it to some people, but it would be this very narrow slice of people. Yeah, and that's it. That's the last community tab question. So I think unless someone wants to add something last second, remember you can drop a super chat if you want to support my channel financially. I've got one more thing over here. Oh, yes, there was one thing that I forgot to share on our One Key card discussion. I got to find it. I apologize. So I started researching this like a week ago, put it on the shelf and didn't come back to it. And I forgot to incorporate this into my slideshow. But I did have one more example I wanted to show you of a non-VIP property where you're still getting the Expedia member discount. So this is a hotel that I stayed at in Ashland, Wisconsin that I really liked, called the Blue Wave Inn. It's this weird boutique hotel. Every single room is on this top floor. The first 2 floors are like businesses and meeting rooms. Every single room looks out over Lake Superior, and it looks diagonal, but obviously the floor is flat. So you kind of have this slanted roof, a nice big peaked roof with a big bed and a couch and a fireplace. I really liked staying there. So that's just a screenshot of what it looked like. Again, this was not a VIP property, but it was one of those you'll have at least a 10% discount properties. And it looks like I booked the exact same room I stayed in. I remember it was Northland Voyager number 4. And 3 nights, I better grab my calculator here, was $937 and change. I'll leave off the change. If I had booked it through, whoops, that's the wrong one. if I had booked it through direct, it would have been $1,041.60. So that's a difference of $104. So that's right around that 10% discount they advertise. So I'm just showing this to explain that you can get discounts just by being an Expedia member, even if you don't sign up for the card, even if you do the VIP thing. So always check to see which is cheaper, booking directly or booking through your favorite price line, expediahotels.com. Whatever. All right. Well, I think we've come to an end for the day. I don't see any more questions. I don't see any more super chats. So we'll call it good. Let me know if you're watching this after the fact down in the comment section. Do you like the one key cards? What questions do you have on them? And would you recommend it either for my situation or for yourself? And as always, may your spending be frugal and may your points be plenteous. Thanks for watching, everyone.